What's up? It's Tom. Thanks for being here. We are back to system recapping after a couple of days of vacation around the holiday there. Talking about Ty Langenberg in just a sec here. Had a nice start, but let's start with the Twins tonight. A very frustrating loss. Anytime you lose 2-1, it hurts, but these were the 2 run scoring hits. Austin Martin just can't come up with that one. It would have been a nice play, but inches away from getting the out, and then a short hop on Carlos Santana, who of course has been so good at first base. Can't get too upset with him, especially since he had a good day at the plate. But those were the two. Those were the 2 runs that were scored, both in the bottom of the 4th inning by Tampa Bay. Of course, the Twins only scoring 1 run. Pretty hard to win when you only score once, but did a lot of things well in this game. Unfortunately, hitting was not one of them. Taking a look at the pitching staff, difficult to find any issue with anybody here, certainly. David Festa goes 5, gives up 2 runs, only walks 1, strikes out 7. Very impressed with how he's pitched for the Twins. This is a guy who, coming into the year, I wasn't really sure was going to be, just to be honest, I thought he was going to be a relief pitcher. Did not get to even 100 innings last season. He had eclipsed that in his start before this one on the year. So surpassing that mark, good to see him expanding there. And not only that, but he's thrown a lot more strikes this season. Always believed in the pitch mix. It's only a 3-pitch mix, but they're all major league quality pitches. His fastball, his slider, and his changeup. But really, and just don't count this guy out. That's this lesson to be learned here. A former 13th round pick, David Festa, establishing himself as a major league starter. That is so cool. What an awesome thing to have. Pitched great tonight. Unfortunately, the team couldn't win. That really stinks. The bullpen even got the job done. Some of these names, not the most familiar names in the Twins bullpen. A couple of guys recently added to the roster, but they got it done. Held Tampa Bay to 2 runs. Those 2 runs that we saw. Fortunately, the lineup just couldn't get it going. Could not get it going. Carlos Santana, though, we showed the bad part, and that was a base hit. That was not an error. That was a hot shot to him. But at the plate, he was 2 for 3 with a walk. His home run was the only Twins run of the game, so he was big tonight. And then Michael Hellman, did want to make sure we called him out. He got his first major league start and hit today. So congratulations, Michael Hellman. A long road to become a major leaguer, and he did it. He got the start in right field tonight. Got an infield single. Nice to see out of Michael Hellman. Hard to feel too good about anything after that game. And anytime you lose a game like that, it kind of puts a bad taste in your mouth because there's so many opportunities you can look back and say, if this would have, if this play would have been made like we were doing. But it is what it is. That's baseball. I wanted to call this out because some of these teams are ending very soon, and I don't want it to be too big of a surprise. The Colonels and Mighty Muscles are done at the end of this week. So their season is over. The Windsurge only play 1 more week after that. The Saints only play 2 more weeks after that. And all those teams, the Saints, the Windsurge, and the Colonels are basically not going to the postseason. So their seasons will be ending. The Mighty Muscles, we'll talk about that in a minute, but they are fighting to get into the postseason in the Florida State League. And of course, the Twins have all the rest of this month. So we will continue to be watching them. But let's get into today's minor league highlights, starting with the top dog, the top prospect, Walker Jenkins. He puts a nice swing on this ball, going the opposite way, and it's a double. It was scored a double, so it's a double. Guy maybe should have made that play, but when you've got hair like Walker Jenkins, certain things just happen for you. They just happen for you naturally, and that's one of them. I just want to call out, he played center field tonight. Didn't really have any challenging plays, but good to see him getting in the field. Circling back to Ty Langenberg, who's kind of the poster child for today, the guy in the thumbnail. 11th round pick out of Iowa. Speaking of Festa, and don't count him out, maybe this guy is the guy not to count out. Ty Langenberg. 5 shutout innings, 1 hit, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts tonight for Ty Langenberg. He is up to 108 innings on the year. This is probably going to be, I'm assuming, his last start of the year. 108 innings, a 3.67 ERA between Cedar Rapids and Fort Myers, a 1.26 whip, 9.7 Ks per 9 on the season. Just a great first full season for a guy, again, 11th round pick, really far under the radar, has put himself on the radar. Rubel Cespedes here in a 0-0 game in the bottom of the 6th inning. shoots one the other way. That was a great swing he put on that one. Speaking of guys who like to go the other way, Walker Jenkins, Rubel, Cespedes is one of those too. And then a ball gets through the infield here, and they make an error out in left field that Cespedes was hustling all the way around for, scores easily to give Cedar Rapids the lead. However, weird play here. Rickson Wingrove, the first baseman, is called for interference, saying that he did not give this base runner a lane to get back to the bag. He cannot believe it. And it's funny, he did not move an inch. He was standing the same way he was standing when he fielded that throw. He remained standing the entire time he argues with the umpire just to try to prove his point. Brian Dinkelman was even like, well, I mean, I'm seeing what he's doing right here. That gave me such a bad vibe, and it came to fruition, unfortunately, because that same at-bat ended with a 2-run home run to put the Colonels down 2-1. Rickson Wingrove looking for revenge in the bottom of the 9th inning, leadoff double. No, he is thrown out trying to stretch it. An Australian that they signed out of indie ball has had some fun moments. Unfortunately, a very frustrating night for him. And Cedar Rapids also loses 2-1. Brandon Winokur hit his 14th home run of the season. Speaking of Rubel Cespedes, he led the Mighty Muscles with 13 last year. So big boy territory for the Florida State League for Brandon Winokur. He also has a 775 OPS in the season. There's a look at that swing. And these are the leaders in single A on the evening. Winokur, that was a 111.2 exit velo that went 441 feet. An absolute bomb from Brandon Winokur. That was a huge game. Unfortunately, Fort Myers loses a rain-shortened game. Got to the 6th inning, and then the rain came. They didn't have a chance to try to come back. Pretty ugly game for the Mighty Muscles to be a pretty ugly, frustrating night in general for these teams that played. The Saints and the Wind Surge were off today because they played yesterday, which is unusual for them, but it was a holiday. Yeah. Couple errors. Nick Lucky at third base made errors on back-to-back plays. Caden Kendall, who's made some really good plays in the outfield, wasn't charged with any errors, but misplayed a couple balls that should have been singles into extra bases. And this was a massive game because, speaking of the Mighty Muscles trying to qualify for the postseason in the Florida State League, there is the second half standings, which is how they kind of split the season into halves. But Lakeland, who they're playing this final week, how fun is that it worked out? It's chasing them down. And this game brought Lakeland within a half game of Fort Myers. So this is a massive, massive series. Really fun that these guys on the Mighty Muscles get an opportunity to play in this kind of an atmosphere and playing the team that's chasing them here at the end. And Lakeland, as you see there, is having a much better overall year than Fort Myers. So that's been a really good affiliate for Detroit. So I'm going to be keeping an extra close eye on this series this week. So again, both the Twins and Colonels lost 2-1. The Muscles lost as well. Saints and Wind Surge were off. In case you missed that line from Ty Langenberg, 5 shutout innings, a 1-hit ball, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts on 80 pitches. Very impressive. Cesar Laris got screwed, basically. I thought he pitched a lot better than his line suggests. It's just the defense behind him was really rough. He got out of some jams, too, and it could have been a lot worse. I thought he did a pretty decent job given the circumstance. We looked at Cespedes and Winokur in the highlights, but just another shout-out to Brandon Winokur on having a great first full season. That's it for me tonight. Thanks for checking this one out. We will be back again tomorrow.